February 23, 2017. The conference room at Georgia Bureau of Investigation headquarters buzzed with tension as Special Agent in Charge, J.T. Ricketson, adjusted the microphone. Outside, news crews from every major network had gathered. They'd been told only that there would be a major announcement in the Tara Grinstead case, the case that had haunted Georgia for over 11 years. The beautiful teacher who vanished without a trace. The mystery that consumed a small town and spawned countless theories. "We have made an arrest," Ricketson announced. The room erupted. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. Because this wasn't just any arrest. This was the answer to a question an entire community had been asking for 227 days. What happened to Tara Grinstead? The man they arrested was someone nobody expected. A former student. A name barely mentioned in over a decade of investigation. Someone who had lived in that same small town, walking the same streets, breathing the same air as Tara's grieving family for 11 years. 11 years of knowing exactly what happened while everyone else suffered. This is the story of how a beloved teacher disappeared from a quiet Georgia town in 2005. How a community was torn apart by suspicion, false leads, and unanswered questions for over a decade. And how, almost 12 years later, the truth finally came out. A truth so shocking, so unexpected, that it left everyone asking, how did we miss this? Before we dive into this mystery, hit that subscribe button right now. Because real cases like this, mysteries that haunted entire communities for years before finally being solved, that's what we do here. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Georgia.
Somewhere else in the U.S.?
I want to know who's here with me tonight. Now let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about who Tara Grinstead was before she became a household name in Georgia. Tara Faye Grinstead was born November 14, 1974, in Hawkinsville, Georgia, a small town in the central part of the state. She grew up in a close family. Her parents, Bill and Faye Grinstead, raised Tara and her older sister Anita with strong Southern values. Church on Sundays. Hard work. Kindness. Community. From a young age, Tara was special. Not just pretty, though, she was undeniably beautiful, with her dark hair, warm smile, and sparkling personality. She was magnetic. The kind of person who lit up a room when she walked in. Teachers loved her. Classmates gravitated toward her. She had this gift of making everyone feel seen, feel valued, feel important. After high school, Tara enrolled at Middle Georgia College in Cochran. But college was expensive, and Tara had big dreams. So she did what many young Southern women with limited resources do. She entered beauty pageants, not for vanity, for scholarship money. And she was good at it. Really good. In 1999, when Tara was 25 years old, she won the Miss Tifton pageant. The crown, the sash, the scholarship money that would help pay for her education. She went on to compete in the Miss Georgia pageant 3 times. She never won the state title, but she earned enough scholarship money to fund her college education, and then some. Tara graduated from Middle Georgia College and continued her education at Valdosta State University, where she earned her master's degree in education. She wanted to be a teacher. More specifically, she wanted to be a history teacher. She loved stories, loved bringing the past to life for students, loved making kids excited about learning. In 1998, Tara began her teaching career at Irwin County High School in Ocilla, Georgia.
Ocilla is tiny.
Population around 500. The kind of small town where everyone knows everyone, where Friday night football games are the social event of the week, where you don't lock your doors, where teachers are respected, admired, and become part of the fabric of the community. Tara taught 11th grade history, and she was beloved.
Students adored her.
She wasn't one of those strict, boring teachers who just lectured from textbooks. She made history come alive. She engaged students. She cared about them. She stayed after school to help struggling kids. She attended their sporting events, their concerts, their activities. She wasn't just a teacher. She was a mentor, a role model, a friend. By 2005, Tara had been teaching at Irwin County High for 7 years. She was also working on another degree, a specialist degree in educational leadership. She wanted to become a school principal someday. She attended night classes, working toward that goal while teaching full-time during the day. Tara lived alone in a small white house at 300 West Park Street in Ocilla, just a few miles from the school. It was modest, cozy. She had a dog and a cat she loved dearly. Neighbors would check on her by looking for a lamp in her window at night, a signal she was home safe. Her elderly neighbors, Myrtle and Joe Portier, had a key to her house and kept a protective eye on her. She was 30 years old in October 2005, just 2 weeks away from her 31st birthday. Less than 2 months away from earning that specialist degree, which would have increased her salary by $10,000 a year. Her life was on track. Her future was bright. But underneath the surface, Tara's personal life was complicated. She'd been in a relationship for 6 years with a man named Marcus Harper. By all accounts, they'd been serious, talked about marriage, talked about a future together. But about a year before Tara disappeared, Marcus broke her heart. He ended the relationship, and Tara struggled. According to friends and family, the breakup devastated her. She'd invested years in that relationship. She'd believed Marcus was the one. And then, just a few weeks before Tara disappeared, Marcus moved back to Ocilla. But he wasn't alone. He was dating someone new, a much younger woman. And he was still calling Tara, still showing up in her life, still creating drama and confusion. According to Tara's sister, Anita, Tara and Marcus had argued about a week before she vanished. It was messy, painful, and it left Tara emotionally fragile. Then there was another complication. A former student, a young man Tara had taught. He claimed they'd had an affair. He showed up at her house. He harassed her. It got bad enough that Tara had him arrested. Eventually, those charges were dropped. But it added another layer of stress to Tara's life. By October 2005, Tara Grinstead's life looked perfect from the outside. Beloved teacher, former beauty queen, smart, successful, kind. But inside, she was dealing with heartbreak, stress, and complications that nobody fully understood. Saturday, October 22, 2005. It started as a normal weekend day for Tara. That morning and afternoon, Tara hosted a small group of young girls at her home on West Park Street. She was coaching them for the Miss Sweet Potato pageant, a local beauty pageant scheduled for that evening in nearby Fitzgerald, Georgia. Tara helped the girls with their hair, their makeup, their stage presence. She loved this. Loved mentoring young women. Loved sharing what she'd learned from her own pageant days. Around 5 p.m., Tara and the girls left for the pageant at the Fitzgerald Grand Theater in Fitzgerald, about 20 miles from Ocilla. The pageant went well. Tara sat in the audience, cheering on her students, giving them advice, being the supportive coach she always was. Around 7 p.m., Tara left the pageant. She didn't stay for the whole event. She had other plans. She drove to a friend's house for a barbecue, a cookout. Just friends, gathering on a Saturday night. The barbecue was at a house on West 3rd Street in Ocilla. Casual, relaxed. Tara arrived around 8 p.m. She was wearing black pants and a white shirt. She seemed fine, normal, in good spirits. She chatted with friends, ate some food, laughed. According to everyone there, Tara seemed perfectly normal. No signs of distress, no indication anything was wrong. Around 11 p.m., Tara said her goodbyes and left the barbecue. She told friends she was going straight home. She lived just a few blocks away. A 2-minute drive, She got in her car and drove home to 300 West Park Street. And that was the last time anyone who cared about her ever saw Tara Grinstead alive. Sunday, October 23rd, 2005. Tara was a regular churchgoer.
Every Sunday without fail.
Her friends expected to see her at services that morning. But she didn't show up. That was unusual, but not alarming. Maybe she was tired from the long day before. Maybe she overslept. People didn't panic yet. Monday morning, October 24th, 2005, 8:50 a.m. Tara didn't show up for work at Irwin County High School. She had classes to teach, students waiting, and Tara never, ever missed work without calling. Ever. Her co-workers tried calling her. No answer. They called her cell phone. No answer. By late morning, people were seriously worried. One of Tara's close friends, Maria Woods Harbor, decided to drive to Tara's house to check on her. Maria had known Tara since they were kids growing up in Hawkinsville.
They were best friends.
And Maria knew something was wrong. When Maria arrived at 300 West Park Street, Tara's car was parked in the driveway.
That was a good sign, right?
She was home. Maybe she was sick. Maybe she'd overslept. But when Maria knocked on the door, nobody answered. The door was locked.
Maria called the Ocilla Police Department. Officers arrived shortly after.
They knocked. No answer. They looked through windows. The house appeared quiet, normal. But Tara's car was there. Her dog and cat were inside. And she hadn't shown up for work. Something was very wrong. Police got permission from Tara's sister to enter the home. And what they found inside made their blood run cold. Tara's cell phone was plugged into a charger in the wall. Her car keys should have been with her purse. But her purse was missing. Her keys were missing. The clothes Tara had worn to the barbecue Saturday night, the black pants and white shirt, were lying on her bedroom floor, like she'd come home, changed, and gone to bed. But there were strange things, disturbing things. Her bedside clock, the kind with digital numbers, was found under her bed. Not on her nightstand where it should have been, under the bed. And the time displayed on the clock was 6 hours off. A lamp that normally sat on her nightstand was broken, snapped into 2 pieces. But instead of being left broken on the floor, someone had propped the broken pieces against the wall.
Why?
What kind of intruder breaks a lamp and then carefully props it back up? Tara's bed was unmade. The sheets were disheveled.
Signs of a struggle?
Or just a woman who'd come home late and gone to sleep without making her bed. Police couldn't tell. There were no obvious signs of forced entry. No broken windows. No kicked-in doors.
No blood.
No weapons. No clear evidence of violence. But Tara Grinstead was gone. And her purse and keys were gone with her. The Ocilla Police Department immediately called the Georgia Bureau of Investigation for help. They knew this was beyond their capacity. Ocilla was a tiny town with limited resources. If something bad had happened to Tara, they needed expertise.
They needed manpower.
They needed help. The GBI arrived and began processing the scene. And then they found something. Outside Tara's house, in her front yard, just a few feet from her front door, investigators found a single latex glove.
One glove.
Lying on the ground, like someone had dropped it in a hurry. They collected it, tested it, and found something crucial: male DNA.
Inside the glove.
An unknown male's DNA.
Not Tara's.
Not any of her family members. Someone else. Someone who had been at Tara's house. Someone who might know what happened to her. The problem: the DNA didn't match anyone in the database. They had evidence, but no suspect. By October 25th, Tara Grinstead's disappearance was major news. Not just in Ocilla. Across Georgia. A beloved teacher, a former beauty queen, vanished from her home with no explanation. The community of Ocilla mobilized immediately. Hundreds of volunteers showed up to search. They combed through woods, fields, abandoned buildings. They searched along roads, in ditches, in waterways. Cadaver dogs were brought in. Helicopters flew overhead.
Dive teams searched local ponds and rivers.
Law enforcement set up a command center in town. Tips poured in. Hundreds of them.
Each one investigated.
Each one leading nowhere. In the days after Tara's disappearance, investigators learned more about her complicated personal life. They interviewed Marcus Harper, the ex-boyfriend. He cooperated, took a polygraph, passed. He was ruled out as a suspect. They interviewed the former student who'd been arrested for harassing Tara. He cooperated, gave alibi,
Was ruled out.
They interviewed friends, co-workers, neighbors, students.
Everyone cooperated.
Everyone was devastated. Everyone wanted Tara found. But there were no clear suspects, no obvious leads, just questions.
Where was Tara? What happened after she came home Saturday night? Did someone break into her house?
Did she let someone in? Did she go somewhere voluntarily and then something went wrong? Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Tara's family held vigils. They organized more searches. They put up billboards across Georgia with Tara's photo and a tip line number.
They appeared on news shows.
They pleaded for information.
Her father, Bill, became a fixture at the command center.
Every day, hoping for news, hoping for answers. In early 2006, police made a discovery that raised even more questions. They found that on the night Tara disappeared, someone had made a call to her home phone from a payphone near a convenience store in Ocilla. The call came in late, after she would have gotten home from the barbecue.
Who called?
Why use a payphone instead of a cell phone or home phone? Police investigated. They couldn't identify who made the call. Just another mystery in a case full of mysteries. If you're still with me right now, drop a comment that says, "I'm still here." Because what comes next is where this case takes its first bizarre turn. In 2008, 3 years after Tara disappeared, the case got renewed national attention when CBS's 48 Hours Mystery featured her story. The episode highlighted the similarities between Tara's case and another young woman's disappearance, Jennifer Kess, in Orlando, Florida, who vanished in January 2006, just 3 months after Tara. Both women disappeared from their homes with no obvious signs of what happened. In connection with that 48 Hours episode, police publicly revealed for the first time the existence of the latex glove and the unknown male DNA. They hoped publicity might shake loose new information. They compared the DNA to dozens of men who knew Tara or were associated with her. No matches. The man whose DNA was on that glove remained a ghost. In 2009, something truly strange happened. Videos appeared online featuring a man calling himself the Catch Me Killer. His face and voice were digitally disguised. He claimed to be a serial killer responsible for 16 murders.
One of the victims he named was Tara Grinstead.
The videos went viral.
Police investigated urgently.
They eventually identified the man behind the videos, 27-year-old Andrew Haley, and it turned out to be a hoax.
A sick, twisted hoax.
Haley had fabricated the entire thing. He had no connection to Tara's case. He was charged with making false statements and was ruled out as a suspect. But the hoax generated massive publicity. And sometimes, publicity is what breaks a case. In 2016, a podcast called Up and Vanished began covering Tara's case. Hosted by filmmaker Payne Lindsay, the podcast dove deep into the mystery. It interviewed people in Ocilla. It examined evidence. It explored theories. And it brought Tara's case back into the national spotlight. Millions of people listened. The GBI received new tips, new leads. People who'd been silent for years started talking. And one of those tips changed everything. In early 2017, a woman came forward to the GBI.
Her name was Brooke Sheridan.
and she had a story that would finally crack the case.
Brooke had been dating a man named Bo Duke.
And Bo had told her something horrifying, something he'd been carrying for over 11 years. According to Brooke, Bo confessed to her that back in October 2005, his friend Ryan Duke had killed Tara Grinstead, not on purpose,
Accidentally.
while trying to rob her. Bo said that Ryan had come to him in a panic, saying he'd broken into Tara's house to steal money for drugs. He was high, desperate, and when Tara caught him in the act, he panicked and hit her.
Killed her.
And now he didn't know what to do with her body. Bo told Brooke that he'd helped Ryan, that Ryan had used Bo's truck to transport Tara's body to a remote pecan orchard owned by Bo's family in Ben Hill County. And there, over the course of 2 days, they burned her body in a fire pit.
Burned it until there was nothing left but ash.
Brooke was horrified. She'd been dating Bo for years and never knew he'd been hiding this secret. She went to the GBI, and on February 21st, 2017, Bo Dukes sat down for an interview with GBI agents, and he told them everything. He confessed to helping dispose of Tara's body. He led them to the pecan orchard, showed them exactly where it happened. GBI agents immediately began interviewing Ryan Alexander Duke. Ryan had attended Irwin County High School about 3 years before Tara disappeared. He would have been 16 or 17 when Tara was teaching there. He graduated in 2002. By 2005, Ryan was 21 years old, and according to Bo's account, he was struggling with drug addiction. On February 22nd, 2017 he was arrested. Ryan sat down for a voluntary interview with the GBI, and he confessed. He admitted to breaking into Tara's house. He said he was high on drugs, desperate for money. He was trying to steal from her purse. And then Tara came up behind him. Startled, he hit her.
He didn't mean to kill her.
But he did. He told investigators he panicked. He moved her body.
He called his friend Bo for help.
And together, they burned her remains in the pecan orchard. Ryan's DNA was compared to the unknown male DNA on the latex glove found in Tara's yard. It was a match. After 11 years, 7 months, and 2 days, the GBI finally had their answer. On February 23, 2017, the GBI held that press conference. Ryan Alexander Duke, now 33 years old, was arrested and charged with murder, aggravated assault, burglary, and concealing a death. On March 3, 2017, Bo Dukes, 32 years old, was arrested and charged with concealing a death, hindering apprehension of a criminal, and tampering with evidence. The town of Ocilla was stunned, absolutely stunned. These weren't strangers. These were local guys.
Ryan and Bo had gone to Irwin County High School.
They'd walked those same hallways where Tara taught. They'd lived in Ocilla this whole time. For 11 years, they'd been there. At the grocery store.
At gas stations.
Driving down the same streets as Tara's grieving family. Knowing exactly what happened.
Saying nothing.
The GBI took Bo Dukes to the pecan orchard in Ben Hill County. It was on property owned by Bo's uncle.
Remote.
Hidden. Perfect for hiding a crime. Investigators searched the area where Bo said they'd burned Tara's body. And they found bone fragments. Small pieces.
Scattered.
But bone nonetheless. They also found teeth fragments. The remains were too degraded for conclusive DNA testing. But they were consistent with one adult human. And they were found exactly where Bo said they would be. In 2019, Bo Dukes went on trial first in Wilcox County, Georgia, on charges related to concealing Tara's death. On March 22, 2019, he was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Bo invoked his Fifth Amendment right and refused to testify at his own trial. He gave no explanation, no apology, no remorse. He was sent to prison, and then it was Ryan Duke's turn. Ryan's trial was delayed multiple times. Appeals, legal arguments. Complications. The Georgia Supreme Court halted it in March 2019 after Ryan's defense team argued they were unconstitutionally denied funds for expert witnesses. It finally began on May 9, 2022, almost 17 years after Tara Grinstead disappeared. And what happened at that trial shocked everyone.
Ryan Duke took the stand.
And he completely recanted his confession. He claimed that when he confessed to the GBI in February 2017, he was under the influence of pain medications. He said he'd been afraid of Bo Dukes. Afraid of what Bo might do to him if he didn't go along with the story. And then Ryan made an explosive claim. It wasn't me who killed Tara Grinstead. It was Bo Dukes. According to Ryan's testimony, Bo had woken him up one morning in October 2005 at the mobile home they shared. Bo showed Ryan Tara's purse and wallet. Bo told Ryan he'd killed Tara. He needed help disposing of the body.
Ryan admitted on the stand that he'd helped Bao.
That they'd taken Tara's body to the pecan orchard in Bo's truck. That they'd burned her remains over 2 days. But Ryan swore he didn't kill her. He was just covering for his friend. Out of fear.
Out of loyalty.
Out of terror about what Bo might do to him. The prosecution argued that Ryan's confession was real. That he'd given investigators details about the case that had never been public, like the phone call from the payphone to Tara's house that night. How would Ryan know about that unless he was involved? And there was the DNA. Ryan's DNA on a latex glove found in Tara's yard.
How do you explain that?
Ryan's defense team argued the DNA could have gotten there innocently. Ryan had been a student at the high school. Maybe he'd been to her house for some school-related reason years before. Maybe the glove had been there for years. Maybe it wasn't connected to the crime at all. The trial lasted over a week. Testimony, evidence, experts, character witnesses. Tara's family sat in the courtroom every single day.
Anita Gaddy's, Tara's sister.
Her father had passed away in 2009, never knowing what happened to his daughter. But Anita was there, waiting for justice. On May 20th, 2022, after days of deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict.
Ryan Alexander Duke was found not guilty of malice murder.
Not guilty of felony murder.
Not guilty of aggravated assault.
Not guilty of burglary. The courtroom gasped. Tara's family looked stunned. How? How could he be found not guilty when he'd confessed, when his DNA was at the scene? But the jury wasn't done. On one charge, they found Ryan Duke guilty, concealing a death. He was guilty of hiding what happened to Tara Grinstead, guilty of burning her body, guilty of letting her family suffer for years without answers, but not guilty of killing her. The jury believed Ryan's testimony. They believed Bo Dukes was the killer. And Ryan was just the accomplice who helped cover it up. On May 23, 2022, Judge Bill Reinhart sentenced Ryan Duke to the maximum penalty for concealing a death, 10 years in prison. Ryan had already served over 5 years while awaiting trial. So he'd serve maybe another few years and then be released.
Every day, they couldn't find Tara, Judge Reinhart told Ryan at sentencing.
And it is true that despite whatever your selfish feelings were for not coming forward, you had the power to stop that pain for years. Tara's sister Anita stood before the court and addressed Ryan directly. He confessed because he got caught, she said, her voice shaking with emotion.
There is nothing sanctimonious about that.
And then she said something that captured what so many people felt. We still don't really know what happened that night. So here's where we are. 2 men have been convicted in Tara Grinstead's death. Bo Dukes is serving 25 years for concealing her death and hindering the investigation. Ryan Duke is serving 10 years for concealing her death. But nobody has been convicted of murdering Tara Grinstead.
Nobody.
So what really happened on October 22, 2005? Because after all these years, after all the confessions and trials and evidence, we still don't have the full truth.
Theory 1. Ryan Duke's original confession.
Ryan broke into Tara's house to steal money for drugs. Tara caught him in the act. He panicked and struck her, killed her. Then he called Bo for help disposing of the body. This version is supported by Ryan's 2017 confession, his DNA on the latex glove, and his knowledge of details about the case. But the jury didn't believe it. Theory 2. Ryan's trial testimony was true. Bo Dukes killed Tara. Maybe Bo had an obsession with her. She'd been his teacher. Maybe he'd been watching her. Maybe he broke in that night with bad intentions. Maybe he killed her and then woke up Ryan and forced him to help cover it up. This version is supported by the fact that Bo invoked the Fifth Amendment and refused to testify.
Why refuse? What is Bo hiding?
But there's no direct evidence linking Bo to the murder, just Ryan's word. And Ryan has a strong motive to save himself from a murder conviction. Theory 3. Both Ryan and Bo were involved in the killing together. Maybe they broke in together. Maybe they were both high and looking for money or valuables.
Maybe Tara caught them both.
Maybe one hit her and the other helped. Maybe the murder was more violent, more premeditated than either has admitted. This theory would explain why both men's stories keep changing, why neither is telling the complete truth.
Maybe they're both protecting themselves from the full horror of what they did.
We'll probably never know the complete truth, because Bo won't talk.
Ryan's story keeps changing.
And Tara's remains were destroyed so thoroughly that forensic evidence can't tell us how she died. But here's what we do know. Tara Grinstead came home from a barbecue around 11 p.m. on October 22, 2005. She changed out of the clothes she'd worn that evening. At some point that night, someone entered her home. There was some kind of altercation. The broken lamp, the clock under the bed suggest something happened. Tara died. Her body was removed from the house. Her purse and keys were taken, possibly to make it look like she'd left voluntarily. Her body was transported to a pecan orchard owned by Bo Duke's family. Over the next 2 days, her remains were burned in a fire pit until almost nothing was left. A latex glove with Ryan Duke's DNA was dropped or left in Tara's front yard. And for 11 years, Ryan Duke and Bo Dukes lived their lives in Ocilla, Georgia. They went to work. They hung out with friends. They walked down Main Street. They saw the missing person posters with Tara's face. They watched her family suffer, and they said nothing.
That might be the most disturbing part of this entire case.
Not just that Tara was killed,
but that the people responsible lived in the same small town as her grieving family for over a decade,
Breathing the same air,
shopping at the same stores, existing in the same community, knowing the answer to the question everyone was asking, and staying silent. In late February 2025, the Georgia Court of Appeals made another ruling in the case. They threw out additional charges that had been pending against Ryan Duke and Bo Dukes related to the burning of Tara's body in Ben Hill County. The court ruled that the statute of limitations had expired on those charges. Law enforcement had probable cause to arrest both men as early as November 2005, just weeks after Tara disappeared based on a tip that had come in about Bo and Ryan allegedly bragging at a party that they'd killed Tara and burned her body. But police didn't act on that tip. They didn't follow up aggressively enough. And by the time they finally made arrests in 2017, it was too late to charge them with certain crimes. The decision didn't affect the sentences Ryan and Bo are currently serving. But it was another reminder of how badly this investigation was botched in the early days. How many opportunities were missed. How many years Tara's family suffered unnecessarily. So what happened to the people in this story? Tara's father, Bill Grinstead, died in 2009, never knowing what happened to his daughter. He spent the last 4 years of his life searching, hoping, praying for answers that didn't come in his lifetime. Tara's mother, Faye, is still alive, still grieving, still processing the fact that her beautiful, talented daughter was killed by someone she'd taught. someone who'd sat in her classroom. Tara's sister, Anita Gaddes, has become an advocate for victims' families. She's spoken at events. She's pushed for changes in how missing person cases are handled. She's kept Tara's memory alive. Maria Woods Harbor, Tara's best friend, has said publicly that she believes both Ryan and Bo were involved in the killing, that neither is telling the complete truth, that they're both protecting each other and themselves, and that the truth of what happened that night died when Tara's body was burned to ash. Marcus Harper, Tara's ex-boyfriend, has stayed out of the public eye. He cooperated with investigators, was cleared, and has tried to move on with his life, though the guilt of how their relationship ended likely haunts him. The town of Ocilla has struggled to heal. For years, the town was consumed by this case. Neighbors suspected neighbors. Rumors flew. Theories abounded. Everyone had someone they thought was guilty. The podcast Up and Vanished brought thousands of true crime enthusiasts to Ocilla. Some residents appreciated the renewed attention. Others felt invaded, exploited, turned into a spectacle. And now, even with arrests and convictions, there's no real closure. Because nobody was convicted of murder. Because the full truth remains elusive. Because Tara's body was never properly recovered, never properly laid to rest. In 2010, 5 years after she disappeared, Tara Grinstead was declared legally dead. But her family never had a funeral with a body, never had a grave to visit. The bone fragments found in the pecan orchard were too small, too degraded to be returned to the family for burial. All they have are memories, fotos, videos, the sound of her voice,
The echo of her laugh.
and the knowledge that the man or men who took her from them lived among them for over a decade. Here's what haunts me most about this case, and I think it'll haunt you too. In November 2005, just weeks after Tara disappeared, someone called the Irwin County Sheriff's Office with a tip. An anonymous person reported that at a party, they'd heard Bo Dukes and Ryan Duke bragging about killing a teacher and burning her body. They gave specific names, specific details. The sheriff's office investigated. They talked to Bo. They talked to Ryan. Both denied everything.
Said it was a joke.
A rumor, drunk talk, and investigators let it go. They didn't push harder, didn't follow up aggressively, didn't treat it as the credible lead it turned out to be. If they had acted on that tip in November 2005, just 1 month after Tara vanished, they could have arrested Ryan and Bo years earlier. They could have recovered Tara's remains before they were completely destroyed. They could have given her family answers before her father died. But they didn't. And for 11 more years, Bo and Ryan lived free. For 11 more years, Tara's family suffered. That's the tragedy within the tragedy. So here's what I want to know from you. What do you think really happened that night? Do you believe Ryan Duke's original confession that he killed Tara during a botched burglary? Do you believe his trial testimony that Bo Dukes was the real killer and Ryan just helped cover it up? Or do you think they were both involved in the killing and neither is telling the full truth? Drop your theory in the comments right now. I'm reading every single one because this case is officially closed. But the truth, the real, complete truth, that's still out there, hidden, buried with the secrets Ryan and Bo are keeping.
If this story affected you, and how could it not hit that like button?
Share this video.
Tara Grinstead's memory deserves to be honored.
Her story deserves to be told. And maybe, just maybe, someone watching this knows something. Maybe someone was at that party in November 2005 and heard Bo and Ryan talking. Maybe someone saw something suspicious back then, but didn't come forward. Maybe your comment or your story could add one more piece to this puzzle. And if you want more cases like these mysteries that haunted communities for years before finally being solved, I just posted a video about an Ohio State medical student who walked into a bar and was never seen again. Security cameras on every exit. Hundreds of people leaving, but he never appeared on any footage. Check it out after this. Tara Faye Grinstead, born November 14th, 1974. Died October 22nd, 2005.
She was 30 years old.
A teacher, a mentor, a friend, a daughter, a sister, a former beauty queen with a heart full of kindness and a future full of promise.
She wanted to become a school.
She wanted to make a difference in the lives of students. She wanted to inspire kids to love learning, love history, love themselves. She died in her own home, at the hands of someone she'd taught, someone she'd tried to help.
Someone who threw away her life for drug money or some other senseless reason.
Her body was burned in a pecan orchard and scattered like ash. Her family was forced to live with unanswered questions for over a decade. And even now, with arrests and convictions and trials, they don't have the full truth. If you have any information about Tara Grinstead's murder that hasn't been shared with investigators, contact the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Even now. Even after the trials. Because there are still pieces missing. Still questions unanswered. Ryan Duke is serving 10 years for concealing her death. He's scheduled to be released in the next few years. Bo Dukes is serving 25 years. He'll be an older man when he gets out. But neither has told the complete truth. Neither has given Tara's family the full story they deserve. And somewhere in that small town of Ocilla, Georgia, there might be someone else who knows something. Who heard something? Who saw something?
Who's been carrying a secret for 19 years?
If that's you, it's time to speak up. It's time to give Tara's family the closure they've been denied for so long.
Rest in peace, Tara.
You deserved so much better than what happened to you. Your students loved you. Your friends adored you. Your family cherished you. And you were taken from this world far too soon by people who didn't deserve to breathe the same air as you. Your memory lives on.
In the students whose lives you touched.
In the community that still grieves for you. In the countless people who followed your case and kept your name alive. You're not forgotten. You never will be.